Miguel ducking right on the 3-on-2. Harry keeps it himself and scores!
Hidayat with the Hail Mary.
This is still Brian Rouse. Oh, ho, ho, ho! Another acrobatic finish.
After game one, it really seemed like the CLS Knights were on their way to dominating this series and barging into the semifinals. But in game two, the Saigon Heat found a way to extend this series, and here we are now. Game three of the quarterfinals in your ABL Season 9 here inside Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. My name is Jud Sulit. With me, Marco Benitez. Marco, after that outburst from the Knights in game one, I don't think anyone thought we would be here playing a do-or-die game between these two teams.
That's exactly correct, Jut. And you know, this is the only remaining quarterfinals matchup that is still undecided. So this promises to be another exciting matchup, especially after what happened in Saigon, where the Saigon Heat were able to steal game two and force a rubber match here. Winner of this game faces the Mono Vampire Singapore Slingers, escaping with a win over the Macau Black Bears. They will be facing Hong Kong Eastern in a rematch of the 2016-2017 final. So it's going to be an exciting matchup here between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat, and we can't wait for this game to start.
Absolutely, and when you're talking about these two teams, they have been trying to get as far as they could in the ABL for years now, and here we are. They are one win away from the semifinals. What's going to be important for these two teams to get a win here?
Well, of course, number one, keys to the game, score more points, especially from the perimeter. 27 of the 31 first quarter points in game one came from the outside. They need to rebound and box out. They arguably have the better front line led by Daryl Watkins. Make them play the half-court offense, especially here in Gor Kertajaya, where they average about 10 triples per ball game. BTN CLS Knights have to execute in the half court, and of course they have to finish strong. One of the best in terms of transitioning from live ball turnovers to conversion on their end. They have to convert. You see this player matchup, Daryl Watkins over Kyle Baron, but Kyle Baron came up big, especially in that fourth quarter in CIS. Scored, I believe, 7 points in the clutch, including that go-ahead putback and that game-time triple in that fourth quarter.
You know, when you're talking about Daryl Watkins, his first stint here, the very first game in the ABL, he was slow and he looked like he wasn't in shape, but he slowly progressed and really has been big help for his team. This is what happened in game one. You were talking about it. A big win for CLS, but then in game two, Trayvon Hughes taking over and really willing his team to another game here in Season 9.
That was a Trayvon Hughes show, especially the third quarter where he scored 17 third quarter points, en route to 30 points, leading scorer for the Heat in that game. So you can be sure he will be a marked man this evening here at Gor Kertajaya.
With these two teams, they are quite evenly matched up, even though the result of that game in game one was lopsided. You can tell that they have weapons to counter each other. what has been the biggest thing in this series?
Well, I think for the biggest thing here for the BTN CLS sides, of course, is their outside shooting. The number one in the league in terms of scoring from the outside at about 37%. Max Yesho has to be big for them. 24 points in game one, 21 points in game two, but he missed two crucial free throws that could have tied that ball game, and it eventually led to a 4-point advantage for the Saigon Heat going into the last 20 seconds of that game. So he has to dictate the tempo in the fourth quarter. He has to have better shot selection, especially since this is their home floor.
And for the CLS Knights, you would have wanted to end the series in game two. You would have wanted to secure your seat in the semifinals, but you know what they give? They give their fans another show here at home, but they will have to find a way to limit this man the way that they did in game one.
Well, they cannot give him confidence in the first quarter. You see the big turnaround from 6 points on 3 of 15 from the field, going up to 30 points in that big game two. Of course, you can argue that is back home in CIS. It's a different story here in Gorkurtajaya for guys like Trayvon Hughes, D'Angelo Hamilton, although D'Angelo Hamilton, one of the few bright spots for the Saigon Heat in game one. So, but I think as the key playmaker, the way Trayvon Hughes plays and the way the BTN CLS Knights defend him here will dictate or will determine the outcome of this game.
D'Angelo Hamilton, very talented player, a big part of the Saigon Heat. But I think you want to use him more as a defender.
Yeah.
I think when he's the leading scorer of the team, it's more bad news than good.
And especially for this guy, Corey Celia. Remember, Quatron had 6 turnovers in the first half of that game one. So Corey Celia started for Coach Kyle Julius an immediate impact. 4 triples in the first quarter and really dictated the tempo, dictated the play for the Saigon Heat, especially brought the energy of the crowd early in that game, and it was pretty much lights out, especially for Trayvon Hughes in the second half.
When it's a regular season game, when you don't have your backs against the wall, you can afford turnovers, you can avoid lost possessions and empty ones. But when you're one loss away from ending everything you've worked hard for the last 5 to 6 months, that's why you make these adjustments. Okay, one guy commits so many turnovers, I'm gonna make that adjustment. Celia, you're starting now.
Yeah, and it's a testament to the cohesiveness and the chemistry and the confidence that Coach Kyle Julius has given his local players for a guy like Corey Celia, who did not play significant minutes in the first game, to come up big and start out game two and really make a significant contribution.
On the other side, for BTN CLS Knights, we are expecting solid performances from some of their locals as well. Brandon Joato, in my book, one of the leading candidates as well for local MVP.
And he's going to be a big factor as well on the defensive end, especially if he will be matched up at times against Kyle Barone or even D'Angelo Hamilton or even Chris Durker, who was also an X factor for them because he's the guy primarily defending Doug Herring, which a very unorthodox way to defend Doug Herring, but it worked for the Saigon Heat in game two.
And you know what, Marco, just an hour ago, the other game 3 of the quarterfinals just wrapped up with the Singapore Slingers taking a 2-point win over the Macau Black Bears. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat would be as close, maybe even needing extra minutes to settle this one.
And you can feel the excitement, you can feel the tension in the air. Big task here for our referees from Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines. But as you know, Gorkurtajaya is going to be rocking here to start this ball game out.
And indeed, it is rocking immediately as they see the Saigon Heat try to pump their team up. This stadium has always been unforgiving ever since the first time the ABL set foot here. But the Saigon Heat, I think they're one of the teams that's good in responding to these kinds of crowds.
You have to remember the Saigon Heat were able to get a victory here early in the season, although you can argue there were still no Doug Herring and Darrell Watkins in the game. And just to give you an idea of how tough it is to win here in Gorkurtajaya, from averaging about 32% from long distance, the Saigon Heat only shoot 25% from deep here in Gorkurtajaya. So those are the types of odds they will be facing.
For now, Marco, we've already been introduced to Saigon Heat. Let's meet the home team.
basketball. Number 24, Muhammad Saroni. And number 27, Bima Rizky Ardiansa. For the national anthem. Hadirin sekalian, kami persilakan untuk berdiri. Kita akan bersama-sama mendengarkan dan menyanyikan lagu kebangsaan kita Indonesia Raya. Inilah Indonesia Raya.
that by far has to be the best starting five call out that we have seen in the ABL. That was insane, Marco.
In the 3 years that I've been covering the ABL, I have not seen anything like that in terms of starters call-outs. But for the Saigon Heat, the usual starters for them, Justin Young will be starting. Usually it's Chris Durker, but for the CLS Knights, of course, their usual starters, probably the best scoring five here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
I don't think anyone, or not a lot of people, expected them to come out in the middle of the stand, but they did. And I love that what happened there with the lights from the mobile phones out there, lighting everything up. The stars are gonna come out and shine here today for these two teams, actually, not just for the CLS Knights, but of course both teams hoping that the stars align for them.
And of course, for the BTN CLS Knights, they have to draw a lot of energy from this crowd. This is their home floor. They have to defend it. They are undefeated here with this current lineup. Their only loss against the Saigon Heat was with their previous lineup of Monte Brandon and without Doug Herring and Jarrell Watkins. So it is up to them to protect their home floor.
I was in shoot around earlier. I've been trying to take a look at the faces of these players. They've all been wearing poker faces, their game faces out here in Gorker Tajaya. You just know that they are dead serious about the mission today, and that is not only to win a game, but to keep themselves alive here in Season 9.
But for the Saigon Heat, the keys for them, of course, defend the perimeter. One of the most potent weapons of the Knights, especially here at home. Number 2 is defend the paint. They cannot allow the BTN CLS Knights to feed off of those second chance opportunities to get baskets on putbacks, and of course they have to execute. One thing about their first game experience here was that they fell a lot to settling for those outside shots. They have to continue to execute well the way they did in Game 2 back in Saigon.
Marco, if there was one stark difference between Game 1 and Game 2 that resulted to those kinds of outcomes, complete flips, what was that factor?
Well, I think shot selection and execution, especially in the half court. We saw in the fourth quarter that Coach Kyle Julius and the Saigon Heat stuck to their game plan of attacking Maxi Escher, using D'Angelo Hamilton, and it really spelled a lot. It caused Maxi Escher to exert a lot of effort on the defensive end, and probably could have contributed to him missing those two crucial free throws. So they have to stay within their system, defend the perimeter well of the BTN CLS Knights, and again, execute here in Gorker Tajaya.
You know, since you mentioned the place, and you mentioned this as well earlier, home court advantage, this is where it pays off. The hard work and the wins you got back in the elimination round. When you're playing such an important game, you want your home crowd feet away from you. You know, it could have been also the advantage that Saigon used in Game 2 to get that win. We know that that place, the CIS Stadium in Saigon, in Ho Chi Minh City, it's also unforgiving. It can get loud, it can get rowdy when they're backing their team up.
And it's easy for them to draw energy from that crowd in Saigon. At home in Saigon in this series against the BTN CLS Knights throughout the season, they average about 82 points per game. But here in Gorker Tajaya, they dip by 7 points per game. So you see the lack of output here for the Saigon Heat. Meanwhile, for the BTN CLS Knights, they thrive in this atmosphere. They love shooting in these rims. From averaging about 7 triples per game in CIS, they average about 10 triples per game here in Gorker Tajaya.
There was one game back in the elimination round where they really torched Macau in this stadium, hit 22 three-pointers in that game. You just know that home court could be a big factor. First crack at a basket will be with the CLS Knights.
And here's that matchup once again. Chris Durker on Doug Herring.
So they actually start with Durker instead of Young.
And Corey Celia as well as the starter. For Coach Kyle Julius, if it's not broken, then there's no need to change it.
A miss there for Hughes. Rebound taken by CLS. They're off and running. Chawato, the kick out. Way long is blocked by Durker.
And that's an excellent defensive effort there from Chris Durker. That is the sweet spot of Wong Wei Long. Those corner triples.
We mentioned some of the locals for CLS, including Joato. Don't forget that Wong Wei Long, before he made his way to Indonesia, he was a two-time local MVP with the Singapore Slingers.
He has that knack for hitting big shots.
Joato, the kick out. Esho now. Wong Wei Long, wide open. Bucket!
That is exactly how they started out game one. 7 triples in the first quarter. Started out by Wong Wei Long.
The crowd back to their team up immediately. Hughes misses. Long with the board. Joato sees an opening. Blocked upstairs by Barone.
Great help defense there by Kyle Barone. Averaging close to 3 blocks per ball game. He's going to be relied upon to be the last line defender for the Heat.
Turker trying to get possession. He has size advantage against Wong. You go back to that, but the defense of CLS ready for it. Take the ball away, Wong.
That's a turnover there for the Saigon Heat. And again, you have to take care of the basketball here in Gorkurtajaya.
Esha defended well. Thought he was fouled. Battle for the board taken by Watkins. Watkins will draw personal on Barone.
And that is what Daryl Watkins loves to do, especially here at home. Against the Saigon Heat, he averaged about 20 points, close to double digits in terms of rebounding. For the rest of the season, he only averages about 14 points, so he's normally extra pumped up against the Heat.
Well, he's facing a tough challenge here. Barone and Hamilton, that's not a joke of a tandem that Watkins will have to battle with underneath. But you can tell that he's up for it. 4-0 lead right now for the Knights. Or did they rule the initial shot from Wong Wei Long was only a 2, so it's only 3-0 for
So
CLS.
Long too, yep.
Watkins misses, ball now with the Saigon Heat. You're Saigon, you're trying to silence this crowd. How do you start your attack? What do you want to do initially on offense?
Well, initially try to attack the post where you have the advantage right there. Kyle Barone has the mismatch against Maxi Esho. If you can get a couple of fouls from Maxi Esho here in the first quarter, that's going to spell a big difference. But you have to get good shots up if you're the Saigon Heat, because once you start missing from the 3, CLS will capitalize.
You know what? The interior defense of Saigon has been rock solid to start this game. Hughes. The kick out to Durker. Chris gives it to Barone. Thought about the 3. Kicks it out. Trayvon. Bottom of the net.
And those are the types of shots that you want. Kyle Barone initially was open, but decided to take it strong, suck the defense in, and then that kick out 3 to Trayvon Hughes.
We haven't even played 3 full minutes, and everyone here is pumped up. It seems like all the players after a basket marker, they have something to say either to opponents or to the crowd. Herring will miss. Long rebound to Wong Wei Long. He gets away, blocked by Hamilton. Offensive board, he blocks Watkins. A couple of attempts, Saigon secures possession.
And that's just tremendous interior defense there from the Saigon Heat. They've stopped 2 or 3 possessions.
Oh, but Hughes misses at the basket. Joato will miss again. Hamilton has done an excellent job defending the rim.
That was an intimidation factor there by D'Angelo Hamilton.
He takes it all the way, will miss. Use the offensive board and the putback.
And whenever the Saigon Heat can get out on the break, that's a 2-on-1 situation. They have to capitalize just like they did there.
That's a 7-0 blitz that the Saigon Heat have brought out here. Esha trying to get position against Celia. Herring swinging that basketball. Joato from the corner drills the 3.
And Brandon Joato seems to always hit his triples whenever it's here in Gorkurtajaya, averaging about 36% from downtown.
And that's really remarkable for his size. Gives the CLS Knights a lot of versatility.
CLS double teaming Trayvon Hughes on that possession. That's going to result in a foul, but it's a much better start here for the Saigon Heat as compared to that game 1.
Trayvon Hughes looking to repeat the kind of output, kind of performance he had in Game 2 where he dropped 30 points. Here he is, ball taken away by Herring. And a foul given up by Hughes. A frustration foul, giving a body check after losing that ball to Doug Herring. But we have a timeout here, a breather that everyone here inside the Gorkerta Jaya needs. We'll be back with more ABL basketball. This is Game 3, do or die between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat. Back here inside the Gorkerta Jaya, this is Game 3 of a best-of-3 series between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat. It's the quarterfinals of the ABL. Yes, it's only the quarterfinals, but the atmosphere feels like it's already Game 5 of the championship. Jotsulit and Marco Benitez here bringing the action from Surabaya, Indonesia. Marco, how would you describe the first 5 or 4.5 minutes of this match?
Well, already if you're Coach Kyle Julius, this is a much better start for your team. Although Kyle Barone gets attacked here by Daryl Watkins, that's a good play off the timeout for the BTN CLS Knights.
So when it's the Saigon Heat, Barone is trying to attack Esho. But for the CLS Knights, it's Watkins trying to attack Barone.
That's a bad pass there from D'Angelo Hamilton. Did not have an angle to enter that ball into Kyle Barone. Let's see if the BTN CLS Knights try to attack Kyle Barone once again.
Watkins, that is going to be a traveling violation. Good stop for Barone.
And lucky break as well for Kyle Barone as he hit his left arm also got caught up there.
You know, even though Watkins has had a couple of buckets underneath, has drawn a couple of fouls, you still have to say that the Saigon Heat's interior defense has been quite solid.
That's right, Jut. And you know, you do not get the sense that the BTN CLS Knights have control of the tempo and the pace of this game, as the Saigon Heat have been very deliberate in their half-court set.
Barone finding some space underneath.
Nobody there to double team Kyle Barone from the baseline, so does well to get it on the reverse.
1 point lead, Saigon. The home team now. Wong almost losing it. They recovered, they send it back to Herring. They're trying to go to Esho now against Justin Young. Maxi steps back. Remember that the Saigon Heat, that's Maxi Esho's former team. Durker takes it all the way. Wow, what an attack there for Chris Durker.
And you know, that's another transition basket off a great stop from Justin Young, staying in front and challenging that three-point attempt from Maxi Esho.
Wong looking again for Watkins. Now against Durker. Minor miscommunication there, but the Knights recover. Here's Herring against Celia. He makes his attack, goes inside, high off the glass and in.
That's just better offense there from Doug Herring. Excellent defense already as everybody collapsed in the paint. But a nice floater from Herring.
How about the response there? Oh, Young with an acrobatic putback.
And Maxi Esho is wondering where that help or where his teammates are for the rebounding, as that's an easy putback from Justin Young.
Yeah, he had to chase Trayvon Hughes when Hughes got away from his initial defender. No one there to box Young out. They do get this open look. Joe Watto will miss this time. He hit one from the other side earlier.
Saigon Heat dodging a bullet on that one as nobody went out to close out on Joe Watto.
Hughes takes it from deep. Trayvon hasn't really found his rhythm yet in this game.
Trayvon Hughes so far 0 for 3. Or maybe that 1 out of 3 from long distance, but he has 5 points to lead the Saigon Heat. But it's a much better start as compared to game 1, where I believe he got his first bucket late in the second quarter.
He was limited to only 6 points in that game. 3 for 15 from the field. And as talented as as Trayvon Hughes is, we've seen it all season long. You don't expect him to fold in the playoffs, but you know, sometimes really the pressure can get to you.
And of course, the conditions here in Gor Kurtajai just make it all the more difficult to score or to get your normal rhythm.
Herring getting away. The beautiful pass leaves it for Nugroho.
Remember game 1 when Firman Nugroho came off the bench, scored a bucket, and played excellent defense in place of Daryl Watkins. Early substitution, Nugroho is in, and that's a nice drop pass from Doug Herring, who have just close to 9 assists per ball game.
You know, one thing Herring has shown here in ABL 9 is that when he is called upon to score, he can very much do so. But if he needs to impact away in a different manner, in a manner of setting his teammates up, he's very capable of that as well.
Because he draws so much attention from the defense whenever he makes that penetration, there's always somebody who's open, and normally it's the big guy under the rim.
Unfortunately, Nugroho could not complete the three-point play. The Heat still up, 13-12. About 2.5 minutes remaining in the first period. Hughes, 9 on the 24. Trayvon, they're moving that basketball. Hua, he will miss. Now it's CLS Knights, turn to attack. They go down low to Esho against Justin Young. Maxi just finding the litmus of space, making the most of it.
And again, that time, good recognition from Doug Herring. Once they got the switch, found Maxi Esho in the post. That's a mismatch for him against Justin Young.
And that's an opening for CLS because Hamilton is sitting on the bench for Saigon. Can the Heat recover? Trayvon loses the ball. Attacking now, Barone will take it from deep, bottom of the net.
That's a big shot there from Kyle Barone. 23 seconds of great defense from the home squad, but the Saigon Heat bailed out by that triple from Barone.
And that is the reason why Barone has stayed with Saigon throughout this entire 9th season. He's a threat from wherever. How about that pass? How did Herring find Jawato there?
And there's also that familiarity between teammates. Whenever Doug Herring makes a penetration, somebody has to cut from the outside. That time Jawato cutting in, getting that drop pass.
That entry pass from Saigon hasn't worked well. CLS has been reading it very well. And Herring again with a fantastic find for Nugroho.
That's 4 assists already for Doug Herring here in the first quarter. Excellent job finding his teammates.
And his assists have made a lot of impact in this game. Barone will miss from deep. Knights now ahead 18-16.
They have a 2 for 1 if they go early.
Herring, he's still going slow, but he may want to try to do that. Herring! Wow! Doug Herring putting on a show here in the first.
It looks like he heard us. Their ball is going to go back to them after this possession from the Heat.
They actually turned the shot clock off.
So lucky break here for the Heat as they get the last say here in the first quarter.
5-point lead for the Knights. Saigon Heat looking to put the punctuation mark in the first sentence of this game. Hughes, free throw line jumper, no good. And that will be the first quarter. Initially, the Saigon Heat gaining some ground, but then one man started to take over, Doug Herring.
I believe he accounted for 9 or 7 of the last 7 points of the BTN CLS sides, either assisting or scoring on his own.
And because of his performance, the CLS Knights enjoying a 5-point lead at the end of one. Second quarter of action about to begin here inside the Gorkir Tanjaya. This is game 3 of the quarterfinals. Do or die between CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat. They split the first 2 games, winning 1 each at home. Right now it's the CLS Knights enjoying that advantage as we head into the final match of this series. Who will move on and face Mono Vampire in the semifinals? That's what we're trying to figure out. Saigon getting a nice attack courtesy of Baron.
Kyle Baron already with 9 points here in the first half to lead all scorers for the Saigon Heat. One thing going for the BTN CLS Knights, they already have 6 assists in the first half alone. 4 of those coming from Doug Herring.
How about that bucket for Maxi Esho? Has been pretty unstoppable here in this game too.
Whenever you talk about assists, BTN CLS Knights at home against the Saigon Heat average about 18 assists per ball game. When they are on the road or in Saigon, they only average about 7 assists per ball game.
And a steal here for the Knights. Cornyawan all the way, getting the bucket and the foul.
And that makes the crowd erupt once again. 7 turnover points from the BTN CLS Knights.
And look at the support that the crowd here inside the stadium is giving their team captain, or their former team captain, and one of the mainstays of the Indonesian national team.
And you know, this is the guy that they want to erupt, especially towards the latter portion of the season. His offense has taken a dip. He has not really gotten his groove, although he hit a big shot in the 4th quarter in game 2. But I'm sure everybody here in Gorkir are waiting for Sandy Cornyawan to have one of those big-time games.
Well, he starts with that 3-point play, giving his team an 8-point lead. You're Saigon, you don't want to fall behind early, like what happened in game 1. Hamilton, ball tap. D'Angelo Hamilton asking for a foul. Referee saw otherwise.
Excellent help defense there from Doug Herring. That is the matchup that they attacked in the 4th quarter of game 2, that Hamilton versus Esho. So good help there from Doug Herring.
Nine seconds on the shot clock. They go inside to Baron. Kyle misses. Young offensive board, they miss again. And Hidayat getting that rebound.
Extra effort there on defense from Firman Nugroho. So positive contribution off the bench.
The Knights looking to establish a double-digit advantage here in the second. Herring being bothered. Arif had to dribble out. Only 6 seconds on their shot clock. Herring will pull up from way beyond the arc. Will miss. That was halfway in though.
Yep, that would have made the crowd erupt once again.
Baron. He is the leading scorer of the Knights of the Heat right now with 9 points.
Possibly not the shot that Coach Kyle Julius had wanted, especially after that nice stop on the defensive end.
Hidayat kicks it out to Herring. CLS trying to move that basketball around. Now it stays with Esho. He attacks. Down the middle, draws a foul on Hamilton.
You know, despite the foul shot, you like the ability of D'Angelo Hamilton to keep in step with Maxi Esho. That time almost had a clean block up top.
That is going to be foul number 1 on D'Angelo Hamilton. It's just so difficult to stop a Maxi Esho because Esho can shoot from outside. He can put the ball on the floor. And once he does, he has a number of different ways to finish as well.
And you know, at 6'7", Maxi Esho is so long. Actually, you have to give a lot of credit to D'Angelo Hamilton just to keep in step with that penetration from Maxi Esho.
Esho was a problem for other teams when he was playing for Saigon last year. He continued to be a problem for many teams when he suited up for the CLS Knights here in Season 9.
And right now, he is one of the candidates for most valuable player, as he has been one of the most consistent players or consistent imports in the league, averaging 23 points per game, close to 10 rebounds, a steal, close to 1 block, and shooting 42% from the 3-point land.
And Marco, that's proven by the fact that CLS changed imports. The only man that they did not change was Maxi Esho.
With a big turnaround from the record last season, I'm sure he is definitely in the conversation for most valuable player.
Saigon continues to miss. They do get that deflection though on that transition attack for the CLS Knights.
With 2.5 minutes gone, the home squad has outscored the Heat 5-2 here, or 6-2 rather, in the second quarter.
The Heat have definitely struggled in the second period.
Not as high scoring as the game one, where they had 31 all in the first quarter.
Wong attacking Celia, the beautiful spin. Wong could not get it off the glass though. Here comes the Heat. Youth bodying of Wong Wei Long and then leaves it for Barone. Saigon. Hughes with a breakdown. They're moving it around. Durker now sees an opening down the middle. Missed. Hamilton with the offensive rebound. He gets fouled and he will head to the line for a pair.
That is one of the things that the Saigon Heat have been able to do well here on the road against the BTN CLS Knights. They average about 16 second chance points per ball game.
Take a look at this again. Hamilton draws that foul on Joato. He sinks the first free throw. And although they continue to struggle from the field, points from the free throw line, this is where that becomes very important. When you're not getting anything from the field, you get your points from there. Hamilton, however, could only get to 1 of 2.
In game 2, they had 26 free throw attempts, 21 of 26 for 80%. And that is what kept them in step with the BTN CLS Knights. In game 1, they were only 5 of 11.
Esho gets to the cup again, getting creative. Dipsy-doo layup off the glass.
And that time, using his athleticism, D'Angelo Hamilton did not want to pick up an early second foul here in the first half.
Saigon's problems slowly getting bigger and bigger here. And they need buckets, they need stops, they need to start now.
So far, this is the biggest lead of the game for the Knights. 8-3, second quarter in favor of the Knights.
A timeout called right now by the Saigon Heat. 6:18 remaining in the first half. It's a 10-point lead for the home team, the CLS Knights. Thanks for joining us here in the ASEAN Basketball Season 9 playoffs. This is the quarterfinals. We're bringing the action to you from the Gorkerta Jaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. It's the CLS Knights up by 10 points, 29-19 over the Saigon Heat. The winner of this game moves on to face Mono Vampire in another best of 3 semifinals. The loser will have to wait for next season in order to try and bounce back. And when it's the ABL, you wait about 6 months.
Yeah.
And you never want to be scratching your head for that long thinking where things went wrong.
Yep. And Coach Kyle Julius recognizing the importance of this inbounds play. Drawing something up, but that's going to be a miss. A lucky break here for the Saigon Heat.
A lucky break indeed. But at the same time, Marco, something we saw there is what's been going on here in the first half. Saigon has been getting okay looks, maybe not the best of looks, but they've been getting open shots. It's just not falling in.
And as is the norm, it's so hard to score here or to shoot from the outside here in Gorker Jaya. They're only shooting about 25%, but that's a nice alley-oop play between the two big men of the Heat.
A couple of times, Hamilton's entry pass supposedly for Baron did not connect. Finally it does, and it produces 2 points.
And the reason why it's so important to score in that possession, because now it's back down to a single-digit deficit for the Saigon Heat. Otherwise, if they did not score and the BTN CLS had scored on this end, they would have been up 12.
Hamilton gets set back there. They do recover the basketball, and Hughes gets money on the three.
That's a big shot there for Trevon Hughes, especially for his confidence. Previously 1 of 5 from downtown before hitting that one.
Numerous times in this first half, the Saigon Heat have been lost on defense. That first step of the CLS Knights, whether it's Wong Wei Long, it's Esho, it's Herring, they get left behind and they rely on the last line of defense to stop it. But look at Hamilton, he had to try and defend Esho. That's why there wasn't any last line defender.
And you know, you have to give a lot of credit to Wong Wei Long. Seems to always choose the right types of shots. Does not force those triples whenever he sees that opening or that gap on the defensive end, makes a strong penetration, draws the foul. So this is one of the values that you get from having a Wong Wei Long, a veteran playmaker for the BTN CLS Knights.
Marco, we've stood side by side with Wong Wei Long. He's not that much, or is not even taller than us, if I believe so. Stands maybe about 5'9", 5'8". But how is he able to be so effective in the ABL, even winning 2 local MVP awards?
He's just a great veteran. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, he picks his spots well, and whenever he sees that he is at an advantage, uses that little burst of speed just to beat his man.
Look at Jawato, attacking, missing. Jandang Koa standing in front of Jawato and doing enough to alter the shot.
Yeah, that's a bad foul there on the part of Tyler Watkins. You're not going to steal the ball away from Kyle Barone that far away from your front or from your back court. And instead he gives up a foul, and that's going to be the second personal foul on Tyler Watkins.
That's 2 fouls on CLS Knights here in the second quarter. Saigon Heat has 3.
So for the Knights, Watkins has 2, Jawato has 1. Esho and Herring still have yet to commit a foul. For the Heat, Trayvon Hughes has 2, Durker has 2, Hamilton has 1.
Well, Trayvon Hughes has done a good job protecting those 2 fouls he committed early in the game. Hamilton, he has been stopped every time he attacks the basket.
That's excellent help on the part of Nugroho.
Wong to Herring. Douglas will set up the play for the CLS Knights. Esho wants it. Slipped a little bit though, and so did Jawato on that attack. Esho from deep, no good. See, Marco, that's a circumstance as well that we've heard players maybe complain or say about the floor here, the gym in Gorker Tajaya. It can get pretty slippery.
Especially with the moisture, with the humidity from the outside. Another great entry pass there from Hamilton to Kyle Barone.
Second time that they connected on an alley-oop. It seems like they have found the formula of connecting with that big-to-big in high-low play. They're taking it from the side. That forces the CLS Knights to call a timeout. They are still up though, 31-26. Look at this crowd inside of Gorker Tajaya. packed to the brim, supporting their CLS Knights, hoping that they get to support their team up until the semifinals. And that hope doesn't stop there. They are hoping they make it all the way to the finals and win it all here in ABL 9. But such is the hope also of the Saigon Heat, Marco.
Yep, this has been the most successful season of the BTN CLS Knights by far. And they do not want this to be the last game that is played here in Gorkurtajaya here in Season 9. So they have come out full force here to support their home squad.
And these are two teams that we've seen progress in the ABL throughout the years that they've played. And this was the goal. It continues to be the goal of this league, to see all these teams, all these countries rise in the global scene of basketball. Esho was stopped there. Hughes quickly to their side. Goes to Koa on the corner. Gets the ball back. Inside now to Baron. Kyle losing his footing there, but recovers. Baron was fouled on the floor. He was surrounded by 4 purple shirts.
But again, what is keeping the Saigon Heat in this game are those second chance opportunities. They already have 6 offensive rebounds, 10 second chance points compared to just 3 for the BTN CLS. And whenever you are playing in hostile territory, you have to outwork the home squad. So far, they've done a good job of that tonight.
Hamilton, Esho in front of him. D'Angelo carving out space, couldn't get the shot.
And again, Firma Nugroho standing tall. Excellent help defense there.
Hughes down on the floor.
That was a solid pick from Maxi Esho.
Trayvon really felt the impact of that screen.
It looks like he fell on his back or on his lower back, so hopefully he's able to get back up and play at 100%, because this is too big a game.
Oh, you see the pain on his face, but you also saw that gesture he sent to Coach Kao Julia saying, "No, I'm not going out of this game. I'm here to play."
This is when big time players suck it up and forget about the pain. There's always tomorrow to rest up and ice those aching joints.
And Marco, if Hughes doesn't power through, there might not be any tomorrow for the Saigon Heat.
Well, you can see him there still limping.
He asked for the ball though. Wants it against Herring. Baron again. Oh, however, that shot did not fall in. Hughes from deep. Forget about Payne. He knocks down the triple.
And again, that was an excellent high-low pass there from D'Angelo Hamilton. Sorry miss, but turned out to be a blessing in disguise, resulting in a triple from Hughes.
What did Saigon change? Because earlier, every time they went to that play, the ball would be taken away or at least deflected. Now, they're getting good looks coming off that Hamilton, far out from the three-point line, lobbing it up to Baron inside.
Well, for one thing, Firma Nugroho is not as quick to the ball as Daryl Watkins. He's not as long as Daryl Watkins, so they're not able to intimidate or to bother that pass from D'Angelo Hamilton as effectively.
That went off of the leg of Bong Wei Long. It will stay with the Saigon Heat with 14 seconds on their shot clock.
And from being outscored 8-3 here in the second quarter, they've leveled it up. 10 points apiece here in the second for both teams.
Thurker getting inside. Chris, hook shot doesn't go. It's Wong Wei Long. He has grabbed a couple of rebounds here. Look at Baron erase that shot.
Kyle Baron, the goaltender on the floor here. First block of the game. Actually, should be his second block already.
And that's not even counting all the times the Saigon Heat bigs, Baron and Hamilton, altered the shots of CLS. May not be blocks, but forced misses. 2:15 remaining in the first half. CLS keeps possession. Chawato coming out to get that leather. Working against Baron, sends it to Esho. Esho attacking baseline. Hanging in the air, no good.
No foul call there. There was a lot of contact on that penetration from Maxi Esho.
The officials letting them play here in this do-or-die battle. Saigon versus CLS Knights. Barone and Esho getting tangled up underneath. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Hamilton has to put it up now. Defense of Watkins there to force that violation. And of course, Hamilton will be asking for that blocking foul.
Yep.
What did you see there?
Well, it was the right guess on the part of Daryl Watkins, and the referee is not going to bail out the Saigon Heat on a shot clock violation because of that. I think Quatron had an open look earlier, should probably have taken it instead of giving it up to his big man.
Minute and a half remaining in the first half of Game 3. Esho looking for options, surveying the floor. He feeds Watkins against Barone underneath. Daryl trying to create some space. A couple of defenders bothering him, bodies on the floor. Watkins, when he's posting up, he's overpowering the bigs of the Saigon Heat.
And good recognition from the home squad, immediately attacking that matchup between Watkins and Kyle Barone. And they're going to draw the first personal foul on Barone on that sequence.
Watkins will be heading to the line for a pair of freebies. Looking to extend this 2-point lead enjoyed by the BTN CLS Knights.
Coach Kyle Julius will sub out D'Angelo Hamilton for the remainder of this, for the rest of this second quarter.
I was just reminding you of the results of the first 2 games in this series. Game 1, lopsided win, 84-59 for the CLS Knights. And then Saigon recalibrated and took Game 2, 86-81. And now here we are in this closely contested Game 3. And I think it's very evident, Marco, that these 2 teams playing with a lot of pride. In each and every single one of those guys in the uniform, whether it's a player uniform or a coach uniform, they're on a mission here today.
And you know, if the regular season series was any indication, the average winning margin of the Knights against the Saigon Heat is only 1.5 points per game. So that's how close they have played it. If you consider Game 1 as an outlier where they really shot lights out.
Watkins extends the CLS lead to 3. Barely over a minute remaining in quarter number 2. Koa. Listen to Thurkner, almost lost it. Thurkner puts the 3 up. Not exactly his range.
And those are the shots that the Knights will give the Saigon Heat all game long.
Jowato has a shot from outside. Doesn't fall in though.
The Knights shooting 25% from the three-point line, while the Heat only are shooting much better at 33%.
That's mainly because of Kyle Barone and Trayvon Hughes. Justin Young lost some space underneath. Boatran forces it. Watkins with a rejection.
And that is the presence of Darren Watkins. Excellent timing on that help.
He sent a message with that block too. Now it's last shot time for the CLS Knights. They enter the second quarter up by 2. Up by 5 rather. Herring falling away, doesn't get the shot, and it is gonna be the end of the first half. A couple of misses on both ends. And we have an exciting one here inside the Gorkir Tajaya. The BTN CLS Knights only up by 3 points, 32-29. Trayvon Hughes leading all scorers with 11 points. But on the side of the CLS Knights, it has been team effort led by Maxi Esho who has 7. We'll take this break. More of Game 3 here in Indonesia in just a bit. We're moments away from the start of the second half here inside the Gorkerta Jaya. Let's take a look at some of the numbers that from the first 20 minutes of action here.
Well, I think, Judd, what stands out is that the BTN and CLS Knights have only made 2 triples in this game. And remember, they had 7 triples in the first quarter alone of game 1. They shoot at about 37% from the three-point line. So this is way below their norm. While the Saigon Heat are 4 out of 13 as well. That is what has kept them in this game. Also, their second chance points clearly in their favor, 16-5 if I'm not mistaken. In terms of assists, though, 7 for the BTN CLS Knights, 6 for the Saigon Heat. Free throw attempts, though, in favor of the home squad. They've gone to the line 10 times, converting on 6, while the Saigon Heat have only made 1 out of 2 from the free throw stripe. 2 players in double figures for the Saigon Heat. That's Trayvon Hughes with 11, Kyle Baron with 13, while nobody yet in double figures for the home squad. Maxi Esho leading the way with 7 points.
Yeah, but for Saigon, after Hughes and Baron, the next leading scorer are guys who have 2 points only, and it's a more balanced attack for the CLS Knights here. Although, Marco, we have to say it was a highly defensive first half.
And that, I think, for the Saigon Heat, that is to their liking, especially here in Gorkerta Jaya. They do not want the CLS Knights to really shoot it lights out. So if they can keep it at a low scoring pace, if they can execute on their half-court set and try to capitalize on those mismatches with Hamilton and Kyle Baron in the post, they're going to be in good shape going into the fourth quarter.
Well, here we are, about to begin the third quarter. It's do or die. It's next round or next season for these two teams. Jot Sulit and Marco Benitez here to bring in the action straight from the Gorkerta Jaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. Got a full house here, as you can see. 3-point lead for the Knights. Any adjustments that you're looking to see from either squad?
Well, I think they're going to try to get Maxi Esho going to the basket a lot more as D'Angelo Hamilton gets the block there. Probably not settle for those outside shots if you're Maxi Esho to try to get more into the scoring. Remember, he's averaging about 23 points per game, so this is a far cry from his average. Meanwhile, for the Saigon Heat, let's see if they can continue attacking the post and possibly get more contribution from guys other than Kyle Baron and Trayvon Hughes.
Interesting here that Coach Kyle Julius is putting Chris Durker on Doug Herring initially, but there was a switch that put him on Wong Wei Long, eventually forcing that turnover.
And you know, so far Durker has done a good job, or commendable job, defending Doug Herring. Doug Herring with 5 points, although he has 4 assists to his name, but he has not really gone off because of the defense of Chris Durker.
Marco, 3 points and 4 assists in the first quarter, so he only had 2 points and was barely felt in the second period.
That's correct, John. Good point.
Here's Hughes. Has to shoot now. That's going to be a shot clock violation.
And you know, because of the intensity and the loudness of the crowd, Saigon Heat did not hear that buzzer go off for 24 seconds.
Saigon contesting that call. They're gonna try to sort things out. No, but the whistle stands. It is gonna be a 24-second violation.
And look at Durker try to deny Doug Herring.
Wong getting to the cup, looking for a teammate. He spots Esha, but far out from the basket. Maxi thought about it again. This time passes out to Jawato, not getting the 3.
And you know, whenever you have Jawato taking that triple instead of Wong Wei Long or Maxi Esho, that's a win for the Heat.
And that should wake up this arena. Maxi Esho dropping the hammer.
Again, live ball turnovers translating in transition points. You've not seen a lot of those here in this game.
Baron silences the crowd with a 3.
How big has Kyle Baron been? Second triple of the game. He's 2 of 4.
16 points for the world import of Saigon. Wong orchestrating. Has to involve his other guard, Doug Herring. He goes up high to Watkins, deflected by Durker. As you mentioned, Durker's activity on defense has been big.
He has been one of the X factors on the defensive end for Coach Kyle Julius. Only 2 points on 1 out of 4, but defensively, he has been solid.
Another lob play. That time, Durker will be whistled for a foul. A bit of a late call there. And I guess that's why the Heat are upset.
And you know, Durker did not expect that they were going to go for the lob to the point guard in Doug Herring. So he was caught off guard on that inbounds play.
So Herring will find himself at the line, shooting a pair of freebies. Like you said, he has 5 points. And actually the second leading scorer of the CLS Knights next to Esho's 9 points.
And I believe that's going to be the 3rd personal foul, if I'm not mistaken, on Chris Durker.
It is going to be that. It looks like Durker will be replaced in a bit.
So Justin Young comes in initially for D'Angelo Hamilton. Durker stays on the floor.
But Hamilton will not leave the officials' table, and he will check in for Durker if this second free throw from Herring is converted. Three-point lead once again for the CLS Knights. A missed free throw. In a game as close as this with Marco, that might haunt you later in the game.
And if you're the Saigon Heat, you want Trayvon Hughes to really try to impose his will here or be aggressive on the offensive end. Remember, 17 third quarter points back in CIS in game 2.
Here's Hughes. Space cut out. Ball taken away by the Knights. They're running. Esho receives it, will finish for the easy deuce.
That's another forward pass there for Maxi Esho. Easy buckets for Maxi Esho.
And that pass was put right in the money, right where Esho needed it. No more dribbles necessary, only delivering the 2 points. We have a timeout here inside the Gor Kertajaya. Tension was already high inside this stadium when we began. Even before we began, it just continued to rise higher. And it is at a maximum right now with less than a minute remaining in the third. We expect it to be this way for the rest of the ball game. Jutsulit and Marco Benitez on the call for game 3 of the quarterfinals between Saigon and CLS. Young attacking, getting that one-hander in.
That's a big possession there. Big bucket on the part of the Saigon Heat, because if they had not scored on that possession, home squad will have a chance to make this a double-digit advantage. And you get the sense that here in the third quarter, momentum has really swung in favor of the Knights.
Wong Wei Long with 10 seconds left in the period. CLS gauging their attack. Wong, pass deflected. Kunyawan pass on an open three. Esho could not sink it. And time will expire. After 10 more minutes in the third quarter, the CLS Knights making some strides here, upping their advantage to 7 points, 46-39. We got one last quarter left to bring you from Gorker Tajaya. Don't go anywhere. ABL will be right back.
Saya suka Surabaya kerja semuanya. Last quarter kita harus lebih gila lagi.
Last 10 minutes in this game, last 10 minutes in the season of one of these two teams. Will the CLS Knights hang on to victory, or will the Saigon Heat find a way to still beat through on the road? John Tulip and Marco Benitez here. Marco, how would you describe how this game has gone?
This is an old-fashioned grind-out game where both teams are struggling on offense. BTN CLS Knights have only been earning the 3 triples, while the Saigon Heat are shooting 30%, 16 of 52 from the field.
Durker, difficult shot. I don't know, he's been trying a lot of shots that we don't normally see him take in games.
Chris Durker is 1 out of 8 from the field. Only 2 players for the Heat, Trayvon Hughes and Kyle Baron, are in double figures with 14 and 16 apiece.
The Knights looking to buy more cushion here. Foul called on Justin Young as he was trying to defend Darryl Watkins. Where it's so difficult, you see how big a man, how well built Watkins is, and Young gives up a couple of inches.
He's a legit 7-footer, talking about Darryl Watkins. So immediately, Kyle Baron is sent back in. Good recognition there right away for the BTN CLS Knights.
This is not impossible still for the Saigon Heat, down by 7, 9 minutes remaining. More than enough time. But you gotta get your shots in. You gotta get those stops too. Wong. Pocket for him.
Now this is Wong Wei Long time. Former Singapore slinger guard, 2-time local MVP, knows when to make the big shots.
He has been in the finals already in the ABL. He knows what it takes to win. Hughes, pause trip momentarily. Recovered. Saigon
There is a foul on Dog Herring hitting the forearm of Trayvon.
Trayvon Hughes so confident in crossing over Doug Herring. But he's been picked off once there by Doug Herring.
Incredible how the CLS Knights have only committed 6 fouls in total in this game.
That was only their 16th foul, while Saigon Heat already with 11.
A cut for Young. Would bother that time. Forward attack. CLS, Cornyawan to walk. They're looking for Watkins, denied by Barone.
And Sandy Cornyawan does not have any confidence in his outside stroke.
A kickball from Justin Young. That will reset the Saigon, or the CLS shot clock to 14 seconds.
Just a 9-point advantage.
When you're down by 9, earlier they were just down by 7, you always think to yourself, Marco, we're only 1 run away from getting back in this game. Problem is, that run hasn't come from the Saigon Heat.
They've been able to make stops, but they've just had a difficult time executing. That's going to be a clear foul on the part of D'Angelo Hamilton. He was beat by that first quick step from Maxi Esho.
The same thing that happened a lot of times back in the first quarter. The explosiveness of the BTN CLS Knights getting the better of the Saigon Heat, and Esho will head to the line for 2 free throws.
And if I'm D'Angelo Hamilton, I'll probably hang back a little more, give Esho that 3-point shot and just challenge it on the release.
Yeah, because Esho hasn't really taken or made a lot of 3-point shots here in this game.
So far, he is 0 for 3 from long distance. Only Jawato and Doug Herring have converted.
But when he gets near the basket, he has been very efficient.
Yeah.
2 free throws for Esho. He makes the first one.
2 out of 3 so far from the line for Maxi Esho.
How ironic would it be if Esho would be the one to eliminate his former team?
Yes.
He makes good with both free throws.
Our lead is up to 11 points. Have to execute here if you're the Heat. You cannot let this slip.
Young looking for his options. He goes to Barone. Triple team. Goes up to Hamilton. Hamilton got caught up. A pushing foul on the CLS Knights. It will stay with the Saigon Heat.
Looks like they're going to give to number 5, Wong Wei Long. So Kyle Barone, good presence of mind there to lob it up to D'Angelo Hamilton as he had nowhere to go.
14 seconds on the shot clock. Less than 8 minutes remaining in the ball game. Young goes up to Barone. Quick basket for the Heat.
And how many times has Kyle Barone converted off of that lob pass?
And it just proves to you that Saigon, for them, they don't have to make basketball difficult. They can opt for easy plays like those. Esho missing that time.
Little bit of a zone on the interior there for the Heat.
Hughes getting to his spot. Attacking baseline.
That's going to be a foul there on Maxi Esho. But that's going to be just a baseline inbounds as Trayvon Hughes went for the pass.
He was actually trying to sell the shot at them at the last second, but I mean, he was underneath the basket already. No way that could have been a shot attempt at that point. See his eyes, well, that's also presence of mind. I think if he found a way to work a miracle and make that basket, they would have counted the shot, but he was just in too deep. Hughes may have hit Esho on the face. Hamilton drops it to Barone. Gets rejected. Esho grabbing that board.
A lot of physicality, a lot of contact in the paint there.
Herring zigzagging, hanging mid-air. Rebound Barone. Now it's Saigon's turn to attack. Khan Barone finishes through the foul.
And this is what you mean when you talk about shot selection. Tron had an open look from 3, instead attacks the basket and finds the streaking Kyle Barone for 2 points.
Once again, the Saigon Heat chipping away on the CLS Knights lead. They are down by 7 with a chance for Barone to turn it down to 6 when we return. There has simply been no shortage of entertainment here inside the Gorkerta Jaya for Game 3 of the quarterfinals between the home team, the BTN CLS Knights, and the visiting Saigon Heat. And for these two squads, there literally is no tomorrow in ABL Season 9 if they don't go home with a win. But only one of them can take it.
Now, this is going to be a test of character for these two teams in unfamiliar territory, as these two teams average about 80 points per game, both struggling offensively.
Kyle Barone with 21 points. He has been leading the Saigon Heat, and he is hoping that when everything is said and done, he would have done enough to carry them to the semifinals.
He's been the big difference maker here. A little bit of a man zone thrown by the Saigon Heat.
6-point advantage for the BTN CLS Knights. Herrick gets to the bucket. Again, that first step.
Yeah, good patience on the part of the Knights.
Tan, jumper no good. Hamilton gets it right back, an easy putback for him.
And credit half the basket to that tap coming from Justin Young. Again, second chance opportunities, keeping the Heat in this game.
Still a lot of time remaining here. The Knights, they cannot take it easy. The Saigon Heat, they have to step it up. Long way long.
Just so good.
How beautiful was that shot? Back to an 8-point advantage for the Knights. Hoa goes to the corner to Young. They find Hamilton in the post against Watkins. Trayvon Hughes, no good. Barone with a cleanup.
17 second chance points for the Saigon Heat. Kyle Barone, D'Angelo Hamilton, multiple offensive rebounds.
Many times it has been said about do or die games, about crucial moments. You sometimes need to throw away the X's and O's. It's about heart and hustle and what you're willing to give up. Esho drops his defender, dropping the jumper as well.
Give half that basket to the Gorkerta Jaya floor as D'Angelo Hamilton loses his footing.
Owen Hughes thought that Hamilton was going to be there. Great defense though for D'Angelo Hamilton. They're off and running. They have numbers. Saigon, oh! What a block! Watkins from out of nowhere closes the door.
That's excellent timing on the part of Darryl Watkins. He knew that Kyle Barone was not going to put the ball down. Instead, go for the alley-oop.
That was such a big play.
And that gets this crowd all pumped up.
4:41 left to play.
Big possession here for the visiting squad.
Hughes, that ball was tapped. It will stay with Saigon.
They got 18 seconds on the shot clock. That's a lot of time to set up their offense as Durker comes in for Hamilton.
Marco, I'll say this as early as now. you'll see the crowd. It's so easy right now to get carried away with your emotions. I just hope we don't see any confetti before the final buzzer.
That was an early shot on the part of Trayvon Hughes.
That's a couple of big blocks already for Darryl Watkins. And the more he does that, more than forcing misses, he's chipping away on the confidence of Calvarone. Here's Watkins on the offensive end against Turker. Couldn't provide the 2 points. Offensive rebound though, taken by Jawado. 10 seconds on the 24. Herrick orchestrating the offense. Dog steps back. 3-ball is good. Money on the three.
How many times has Doug Herring hit that big three-point shot? He's not their best three-point shooter, but when it matters the most, he's been clutch.
A miss again for Durker. He has been looking for that outside shot.
Soft touch there on the part of Trayvon Hughes. So difficult from about 12 feet.
I've been curious really about the shot selection of Chris Durker in this game. But you know, I don't see Coach Kyle Julius reprimanding him, so perhaps it's part of the game plan. He's guarding Herring right now. Dog Herring. Nothing there. Durker secures that rebound.
It's going to be a good stop for them, but all-important possession.
Hughes looking for the 3-ball. Is it too early to start looking for that 3?
I think that was an early shot attempt, especially as Durker had set a good screen. Trayvon Hughes probably had an open lane to the basket.
2:43 remaining in this ball game. 6 seconds on the shot clock of CLS. Drippity drop. Maxi Esho with a big shot.
And that's a 6-point swing. You miss an early attempt. Maxi Esho hurts you with a 3 on the other end.
And that's going to be a turnover.
And this crowd starting to sense this win.
Everyone here inside the Gorkerta Jaya starting to get pumped up. They are starting to smell that matchup with Mono Vampire in the semifinals. But they lose the ball immediately. That's going to be a foul on Doug Herring. He will send Trayvon Hughes to the free throw line.
That was a careless pass there on the part of Brandon Jawato. Not out of the woods by any means are the BTN CLS Knights.
But at this point, the Saigon Heat cannot afford any more mistakes. Less than 2.5 minutes remaining. 12-point lead for the BTN CLS Knights. Can they hang on and arrange a meeting with Mono Vampire in the semifinals? We'll find out soon. Don't go anywhere. This is game 3 of the quarterfinals between the BTN CLS Knights of Indonesia and the Saigon Heat of Vietnam. And it is only a best of 3 series, so this is do or die. CLS took the first game at home. Saigon took the second game at home. And now we are back here inside a home court of the Knights in Gorkerta Jaya, Surabaya, Indonesia, where they are so far in a good position to take another win and barge into the semifinals. Marco, it was anybody's ball game in the early parts of the fourth quarter. What did the Knights do in order to get this cushion, this advantage?
Well, they finally hit their 3-point shots. through 3 quarters, they had only had 3 triples the entire game. Here in the 4th quarter, they've already connected on 2 back-to-back triples for that matter, coming from Doug Herring and Maxi Escher.
Hughes trying his best to resuscitate the Saigon Heat.
Saigon Heat right now is staring at the barrel of a gun, down by 11 with 2.5 minutes remaining.
Hughes misses.
All-important stop here for the Saigon Heat.
And with every missed opportunity, Saigon is scratching their wounds right now.
And Corey Celia is in the game for some outside shooting. Only Trayvon Hughes is Trayvon Hughes has 4 out of 16. Kyle Barone is 2 of 5. Those are the only 2 players who have connected on a 3-point shot for the Heat.
Here's Esho getting to the cup. Defense has been there, especially for D'Angelo Hamilton, a defensive player of the year in the VBA. However, offense has been lacking for Saigon.
Hamilton with 5 points, but already with 4 blocks. Most of those against Maxi Escher.
9 seconds remaining on the shot clock of the night. Inside pass deflected once again. So far, so good in terms of stopping the offensive flow of the Knights for Saigon. Shot clock barely moved though.
Yeah.
So it's still 9 seconds up there. Escher will receive it, being chased by Hamilton. D'Angelo sticking to his man. Watkins puts it up, and that will be a violation for the Knights.
And that's a stop that they needed. Basket here trims it to a single-digit deficit. If you're the Heat, you do not need to take a 3 just yet.
Here it is. It's winning time in Surabaya, Indonesia. The Heat facing an 11-point deficit. Trayvon Hughes, floater doesn't go. Rebound taken by CLS. Hamilton and Watkins. Gotta watch out for that. They're trading elbows, traded elbows for a bit.
And Doug Herring is just going to milk this shot clock.
Dog Herring. Marco, that will be the dart to the heart of the Saigon Heat.
And
I think Dog Herring just called game.
And I think there's a turnover to boot for the Saigon Heat just to make matters worse. Ball's going to go back to the home squad.
He saw that opening again, and there has been a lot of difficulty for the Saigon Heat just keeping in step with the attacks of the CLS Knights.
Late help as well on the penetration from D'Angelo Hamilton.
Coach Brian Rosong, I love the adjustment he made in this game. He saw what kind of defense Saigon prepared in order to match up with them. Saigon was excellent in the first quarter protecting that rim. Coach Rosong recalibrated his attack, and it became so difficult for the Heat to keep up.
And they knew that they were not as good shooting that basketball from the outside, but a steal here from Trayvon Hughes.
Hughes, however, will fall to the ground because of a foul.
And Hughes not giving up on this. The Knights are in the penalty. So that's going to be 2 free throws.
Hughes will be tested once again. He's got 17 points for Saigon. Last time he was at the line, split his freebies, 1 out of 2.
As you mentioned, Judd, good adjustment on the part of Coach Brian Rosum. He capitalized on their mismatches, especially on the perimeter. Chris Durker got into foul trouble, and what's more, they forced the Saigon Heat into turnovers and were able to convert those turnovers into buckets, resulting in 18 turnover points.
I really thought the Knights made the most of every possession, every opportunity they got. The Heat right now still having something to say, but to the minute of 17, down by 12, could be 11 They are almost in need of a miracle now.
Saigon is going to have to start fouling and get the Knights to the free throw line.
Herring says, I want to be the one to inbound that basketball. Gets it to Wong Wei Long. Saigon not yet fouling immediately. Wong will bring past the defense of Celia. And then a foul is called. So that will be 2 free throws for Wong. Or not yet. Not yet,
That's just
sorry.
the third team foul on the part of the Heat.
So they have to foul one more time before entering penalty. 2 more times in order to send a CLS Knight to the free throw line.
There's that foul there on the part of D'Angelo Hamilton, with some sweet nothings to say as well to Maxi Esho.
You can tell frustration is building up, but you gotta commend Esho.
Just for walking away.
Yeah, he knew that there was some basketball to be played, and he knew he has the upper hand right now, so forget about what he has to say. He's out here trying to get the W.
Plus, you do not want to get a technical foul, that might result in a suspension, especially since you are the team that is looking to advance. Wong Wei Long, how big have his buckets been?
Her own will miss. And it is pretty much time to seal this game for the CLS Knights. They have been close to invincible inside this gym, to the delight of the home crowd. Hamilton, another hard foul there.
And if you could only read the lips of D'Angelo Hamilton, a lot to say for Maxi Esho, but Maxi Esho really stepping up, especially that 4th quarter. He and Doug Herring so far 18 points apiece.
I think at this point, Marco, we can officially look forward to the semifinals. On one end, it's going to be the Singapore Slingers versus the Hong Kong Eastern in a rematch of the finals of ABL Season 7. And on this bracket, it's going to be Mono Vampire Basketball Club facing the BTN CLS Knights. What do you think of that matchup?
Well, Mono Vampire was last year's finalist, but they were the 8th seed going into the playoffs, defeating the number 1 seed. So what a big turnaround for them in the last 7 or 8 games of the regular season. The CLS Knights have been solid pretty much since December with this lineup of Herring, Watkins, Esho, Wong Wei Long, and Brandon Jawato. That's going to be an explosive matchup.
And it's time to celebrate. If you have confetti, now is the time to bring it out. As the CLS Knights will enter the semifinals of the ASEAN Basketball Season 9. An incredible feat for the team coming out of Surabaya, Indonesia. And they have battles ahead, but for now, Marco, it's time for them to celebrate this win.
But what a gallant stand on the part of the Saigon Heat. They were able to defend home court after a drubbing in Game 1. Came out with a win in Game 2 in CIS Arena. But again, Gor Kurtajaya has proven to be a big difference maker, especially in this best of 3 quarterfinal series. And the big time players, Doug Herring, Maxi Esho, came to play here tonight for their home squad.
And pretty soon, we will be back here inside the Gor Kurtajaya as the BTN CLS Knights will hold home court advantage over the 8th-seeded Mono Vampire Basketball Club. So this will be the same venue for Game 1 of the semis. Trayvon Hughes bowing out after a spectacular show here in Season 9. But something tells me he's not done with the ABO yet. Has now head courtside to celebrate with the BTN CLS Knights.
play for the BTN CLS Knights went to the semi-final. Coach, they fought hard for 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter. What happened, Coach? What is the turning point for this game?
We were seeing good defense all game, and then the 4th quarter we forced some turnovers, and we got easy fast breaks, and that really helped us.
All right, Coach. If we're talking about the key player for this game, what do you think about the key player of the game?
It's difficult to choose. I would say this: the second 5, the local players played very good. Furman played very well in the first half. Arif and Sandy, they were a big difference for us tonight.
All right, Coach. Is there anything that you want to say to our fans, the BTN CLS Knights Society?
I'm happy for Indonesia, for the whole country. Indonesia, one knee.
All right, Coach. Congratulations. Okay. See you in the semifinal. All right, guys. Back to you.
Congratulations, Coach Brian Rosom. And congratulations to you too, Dion, for the victory of the BTN CLS Knights. And Marco, it was just a spectacular show. And Coach Brian put it in the right way, in the perfect way. While he can't name one player who really delivered the big blows, who really led the way, he had to commend the second unit for stepping up.
And he cited in particular Furman Nugroho, Sandy Kurniawan, although they did not score a lot, but quality minutes for them. You talk about Furman Nugroho's presence inside the paint, those help defenses that he did, which prevented those baskets from D'Angelo Hamilton. Of course, player of the game goes to Maxi Escher for the nth time, as he came up big, especially in that 4th quarter, finishing with about 18 points. He and Doug Herring really carried the BTN CLS Knights in the clutch when it mattered the most, especially on the defensive end as well. Doug Herring really controlled the game, put his stamp, especially in the 4th quarter. And I remember that penetration as the shot clock was winding down to put the game out of the hands of the Saigon Heat.
You know, for Maxi Escher, he isn't only the player of the game for the BTN CLS Knights. He has been the player of the season for them. Has been with the team since the very start of Season 9. Was the only import who has played with them from the very first game up to now. And last year, when he was playing for the Saigon Heat, he failed to make it up to this point. Now with the CLS Knights, he will make his first semifinals appearance in the ABL.
And you could just feel the pure joy and the excitement from this crowd after this victory. They have been rewarded. Their faithfulness and their support all season long have been rewarded by this BTN CLS Knights squad, and it's going to be an explosive matchup with a first runner-up of last season, the Mono Vampire squad, and you can be sure this crowd is going to be ready.
Absolutely. You know what? The BTN CLS Knights escaped a strong threat from the Saigon Heat. They have another formidable challenger coming up next. Like you mentioned, imagine Mono Vampire just took down the #1 seed for Formosa Dreamers. We can talk about that the future a bit later. Now, what happened here, these are the numbers from this game.
Well, showing that they have the ability to grind out a win despite shooting just 5 of 16 from the 3-point line, which is their usual weapon of choice. BTN CLS Knights finding a way to win, scoring in transition, off turnovers, getting to the line, hitting quality baskets, good shot selection inside the paint, and of course, excellent defense down the stretch against the Saigon Heat.
And that is why they were able to get this 12-point victory, 68-56 over the visiting Saigon Heat. And that will do it for us here in Surabaya, Indonesia. For my partner, Marco Benitez, the hardworking men and women of the ABL. My name is John Sulit. Thank you for watching this presentation. We'll see you in the semifinals.